All right, let's dive into something really wild: the legal system of ancient China's Qin Dynasty. We're going to look at 3 laws from way back around 200 BC that are so out there, they'll make you question everything you thought you knew about rules and government.
So let me just ask you this. Can you imagine being told you're legally a child, not because of your age, but because you're, well, just not tall enough? It sounds completely made up, right? But for a while in ancient China, this was real life. So who was the mastermind behind these rules? Well, it was none other than Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the very first emperor of China. This guy was a huge deal. He unified the country, he started building the Great Wall, but, he also had some, let's just say, very specific ideas about how to run things. And here's where it gets kind of personal. The emperor didn't just pull a random number out of a hat to decide who was an adult. Nope, he chose a standard that was, well, him. If you wanted to be treated like a grown-up in his empire, you had to literally measure up to the emperor himself.
That's right, 4 feet 11 inches tall, Emperor Qin Shi Huang was, as history tells it, a true short king. And this one fact about him had huge consequences for everybody else. To be an adult, you had to be at least as tall as he was.
Now hold on. Before you think this was all just about his ego, there was actually a practical side to it. See, back in 200 BC, you couldn't just show someone your birth certificate. Records were a mess, so proving your age was almost impossible. So the emperor decided to use height instead. A weird solution, for sure, but it was a solution.
And that brings us to our first truly bizarre law, the height requirement. It's that simple. Forget turning 18 or 21. In the Qin Dynasty, your big coming-of-age moment might have just involved someone holding a measuring stick up to you. I mean, this really shows you just how differently they saw the world. For us, being an adult is about hitting a certain age, a milestone in time. For them, it was a physical thing, a line that, hey, some people might never cross. And of course, this created an amazing loophole. If you were a man shorter than 4'11", you could get into trouble and then just argue that you were legally a child. It was pretty much a get-out-of-jail-free card for anyone who was a bit on the shorter side. Okay, but let's say you were tall enough. You're officially an adult man. Well, congratulations, you've just unlocked a whole new level of strange rules. The government wasn't just controlling your legal status anymore, now it was controlling your emotions. For men, it was actually illegal to cry. So what was the thinking here? Well, in the super strict, military-focused society of the Qin Dynasty, crying was seen as the ultimate sign of weakness. The emperor wanted tough, stoic dudes building his empire, and he was going to make it a law if he had to. And the punishment if you broke this law, it wasn't a fine, it wasn't jail time, it was pure public humiliation. If you were a man caught crying, they would shave off your beard and your eyebrows, and back then a man's beard was a huge symbol of his pride and masculinity. So yeah, this was a big, big deal. Now just when you think you've figured out the logic, crying is bad, the whole system flips on its head. Because while men were punished for crying, for women, at certain times, it was actually required by law. You had to cry. This has to be one of the strangest rituals ever. Any woman about to get married had to cry on purpose for 1 hour every single day for a full 30 days before her wedding. And get this, it wasn't because she was sad. It was seen as a required show of love for her family before she left home. And it wasn't a solo act. This whole thing was a group activity. For the first 10 days, the bride cried by herself. Then her mom had to join in for the next 10. After that, grandma jumped in. And for the final few days, all her aunts and sisters joined the crying circle. Can you just imagine that? An entire household just weeping on a schedule? So you've got a law about height, a law against men crying, and a law demanding that women cry. They all seem so random and disconnected, but if you look closer, they're all about one thing: control. Absolute, total control. So here's the real takeaway. These weren't just quirky, ancient rules. They were tools. Powerful tools for the state to exert its power. By defining adulthood based on the emperor's own body, by policing how men could feel, and by commanding how women should feel, it was all about making sure the emperor's authority reached into every single corner of a person's life, right down to their very tears. And all this leaves me with one final thought. It's so easy for us to look back 2,000 years and call these laws bizarre. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Which of our modern laws, our customs, our social rules will have people in the year 4000 just shaking their heads, asking, what on earth were they thinking? Something to think about.